summer in Australia. Ugh. Welcome back to Dance Geek. It's been a while. Not gonna lie, it's been like a year. But that's what this video is about. I hope you all had a great 2023. I will talk about my 2023 a bit in this video. But first of all, I want to talk to you about why I didn't upload in 2023. It was a deliberate decision that I did not enter into very lightly, but it really came down to two main reasons. The first one was that I was returning to full-time study. I'm doing a Masters of Teaching at the University of Melbourne, which is my alma mater. Did my undergrad there. It's a 2-year degree with a full-time course load. Classes are on campus. I also have 2 kids and I do paid work as a dance teacher and a dance judge. And look, something had to give. So I made the difficult but obvious decision to take a break from YouTube, which actually leads to the second of my reasons. I wasn't actually happy with the content I was creating. When I really sat down and analyzed the situation, I realized I wasn't happy with what I was uploading, how it was being uploaded. I wasn't happy with my content. I started this channel as a way to share my knowledge, which would hopefully fill in some of the gaps that dance educators and students might have in the dance and performance world. Now, this was purely based on feedback I'd been getting when I was adjudicating, when I was a dance judge. But I got wrapped up in what I thought I should be uploading, and that I thought that needed to be actual dancing. I felt that if there wasn't any actual dancing in my videos, then it wasn't good enough. I didn't think anyone wanted to watch me or listen to me just talk about dancing. I might talk about why in another video. The irony is not lost on me tomorrow. But I have issues with that part of things. Anyway, I felt the problem, however, is that I have a physically disabling condition, which, although I'm on medication to manage, it is a deteriorating condition. And this means my body is getting steadily weaker and sorer. The medication is slowing that down considerably, but it's an incurable disease. That's why it's called chronic. And it was not easy for me to do physical dance videos. I'd plan out my filming and editing schedule and I'd be all on track. And unfortunately, my immune system didn't read the schedule and I'd have a flare up. And that was it. There goes the schedule. So I tried using other dancers to demonstrate in the videos so that I'd be more of a teacher, instructor, coach. And whilst this was great and I really loved that content, I had some problems with it. First problem with this was that I'm not comfortable with unpaid labor. I'm not even really comfortable with in-kind labor. That's a personal issue. I wish I was okay with in-kind labor, but I find it difficult, especially when you're dealing with children. I'm not judging how other YouTube channels do it because I don't actually know how they do it. But in my situation, I couldn't afford to pay the dancers who are appearing in my videos outright. And because this channel doesn't make any money, I didn't have a way of even giving them like a percentage of the income. So, I mean, hopefully that'll change one day soon, but that was the first problem. The second problem is that the laws around children in entertainment in general, but especially online, especially YouTube, are so incredibly murky that in some cases they're non-existent. It just started to feel like exploitation, and I just didn't want a piece of that. So that was kind of the predicament I was in. So I took a year off of filming for YouTube and stuff happened. What was my 2023 like? In summary, it was chaotic. And I mean that in the best and worst possible ways. I'm not going to go through everything, but just to rattle off a few of the highs and lows, of my 2023, I became obsessed with study. Now, that sort of implies that I wasn't obsessed with studying beforehand, but I have always been obsessed with learning. It's why my channel is called Dance Geek. I am a geek who just needs to constantly learn things. I became obsessed with my uni course and learning about the different educational pedagogies and drama specifically, as well as studying really important niche educational topics like Indigenous education, disability in education, and honestly, the whole academic world, not just education, but the whole academic world is just so exciting to me. I feel so at home there. So being back at uni was just, it was amazing. But ironically, I actually also became really bored with my studies. Now, the level of academia required and critical discourse required in my course, it just wasn't near the level that I wanted it to be. And that's not saying there's anything wrong with the course. It's just that this course is a means to an end for me. I'm at a top university here in Australia. It's a master's level degree, but it's very vocational based. It's a coursework, not research degree, and research is what I want to do. Don't get me wrong, I love the vocational aspects of the degree, but I'm not doing this course so that I can be a high school teacher. That's the purpose of the course, and I don't want them to change the purpose of the course just to suit me. The main reason that people do this course is to become a high school teacher. So vocational aspects are really important. And I'm doing the course so that I can get a practical grounding in educational pedagogy, especially as it relates to drama teaching, so that I can actually use that as a foundation for my PhD research, which I'll be officially starting next year. So this master's in teaching is really, it's a vital but kind of boring stepping stone on the way to my ultimate goals. So that became really frustrating. The other thing that happened last year is I finally accepted that I am a disabled person and that I need help. That was a huge thing for me to come to. And I was diagnosed with my physical disability when I was 17. I'm now 42. That's a long time. And I have never allowed myself to see it as a physical disability. I've had to do a lot of advocating for myself, which is tiring and a lot of the time incredibly demoralizing. But I've also realized through the past year that it can be really inspiring to other people, and it can just be really goddamn helpful to other people. I didn't expect that. Western cultures have this perception that a physical disability, it looks a certain way, and that's it. It's like, and I thought this as well. I thought that unless a disability was visible, so unless you use a wheelchair or you have a guide dog or a cane or some sort of thing, something we can see, then you weren't disabled. But that is just internalized ableism, and I can no longer afford to hold that. So I spent about a quarter of last year using mobility aids, switching between crutches and a walking stick. I might do a separate video on that because my use of mobility aids, I'd love to use them every day, but I can't because my disability actually affects my hands and wrists and shoulder, so I can't use walking sticks anyway. But I've had to constantly inform people of my limitations, and for the most part that has been received with kindness and with just openness where people want to help. But the fact is, I'm a disabled dancer. I'm a disabled dance teacher, and I'm sure I don't need to explain to all of you watching the absolute devastation of not being able to dance and to use your body the way that I used to do it. It has always been my biggest fear to not be able to dance, and that's what I've been faced with. So putting videos of myself on the internet dancing has been really just too confronting for me, and I needed to accept my own physical disabilities before I was able to get to a place where dancing could be part of my life again physically. It's a very complicated thing, but that was a huge part of last year for me. One of the things that led to that sense of pride in my disability and in myself was actually some mental health problems as a result of also accepting that I have cognitive disabilities. So long, complicated story short, this was probably the lowest point of 2023 for me, and it kind of happened the whole way through. But I have borderline personality disorder, which is a very complicated and most of the time trauma-based personality disorder. At the end of 2022, towards the end of 2022, I had a very severe triggering event, which put me back into a state of trauma. And it was still something I was working through through 2023, and it sort of led to another triggering event in 2023. But I'm actually doing so much better now, like so much better. I've had some really great breakthroughs. On the mental health front, I have been in therapy consistently for the last 11 years and semi-consistently since the age of 14. I've been medicated since I was 23, 24. I am very well protected. I have an incredible support base. I have some really crappy mental health problems, but when it comes to the support I am privileged AF. But along with BPD, I am autistic. Now, apparently this wasn't a shock to the people around me. It was one of those moments where I was like, well, it would have been nice if you told me. But anyway, so it's been an absolute game changer. Realizing and acknowledging the autism aspect of my personality. Whole other video on the autism, but I'm doing really well. I do now and have always taken my therapy very seriously. I am always working on it, but truly triggering events like what happened to me in 2022 can, and in this case, completely disrupted my life majorly. I want to put in a little caveat here on the word triggering. When I use the word triggering, I am talking about PTSD, CPTSD, I'm talking about trauma, I'm talking about events and things that literally put your body and your brain back where you were when you experienced the initial trauma. I'm not talking about the pop psychology use of the word trigger. Oh my God, I'm so triggered, which generally just means that makes me feel really uncomfortable and reminds me of something. It is not a memory. I wish it was a memory. Okay. That's what I mean when I'm talking about these triggered events. Okay, let's talk about some fun stuff that happened last year. I got a new tattoo. Here it is here. Not sure if you can see it, whatever. It's a fine line pineapple. It's on my finger. It is on that finger deliberately. One of my besties, Kiara, and we got these together. The pineapple is a symbol that we use to communicate with each other when we're finding it like impossible to communicate. It's kind of like our mental health safe word emoji. Because when people always say, reach out, make sure you talk to people. It is so hard to talk when you are in the depths of despair and depression. It is physically impossible sometimes for me to talk. Something I've actually also we've noticed through therapy and everything is that I actually go mute. I get the autistic non-verbal when I'm overwhelmed by emotions, and it then becomes like difficult for me to even text somebody, let alone talk to them. So we developed this little simple thing of, pineapple. We also do fist bump a lot. So we decided to get a finger tattoo of our pineapple and fist bump. And it's on this finger because, well, it's funny. And it's also to the things that want to destroy us in our lives. I will definitely be getting more tattoos. This tattoo actually takes my grand total of tattoos to two. Yeah, I have 2 tattoos. That's it. And I love tattoos and I really want to get more, but I'm an absolute tight ass. I just don't like spending money, and tattoos are not something you want to cheap out on. So I want to get this one just fixed up a little bit, and I want to get heaps more tattoos that I have wanted to get these same things since I was like 12. Hopefully I will start to get more because they're fun and I love them, but I'm a tight ass, so. Now, speaking of my pineapple bestie, she actually got really sick, or rather sicker, in 2023. So this is the final thing I'm going to talk about my highlights of 2023, but my bestie and frequent collaborator here on Dance Geek, Kiara, became very ill last year. I'm not going to go into the details because that's her life, but I will let you know that although she is much better now, she is officially part of the Disability Club too. Yay! Irony! Sarcasm! So my partner Mark, myself, our 2 kids, we've been supporting Kiara heaps, helping her with whatever she needed, because diagnosis of a chronic condition, if you've ever been through it or seen someone go through it, it is the proverbial double-edged sword. It is horrible to go through. It doesn't come because you feel sick one day or sore one day and then you go to the doctor and then they diagnose you with something and it's a chronic illness. It's years most of the time. Something is wrong with you, but because nothing in your body seems to be working and you're in so much pain, but it takes months and months and sometimes years and years of tests and multiple doctors prodding at you and asking you the same questions and no one knowing what's wrong, and you end up gaslighting yourself and you think you've made it up, and sometimes you actually come across medical professionals who also gaslight you and think you've made it up and tell you you've made it up, or it's all in your head. So when you eventually get a diagnosis, there's this weird sense of relief. But then you have to deal with the fact that you have an incurable condition, which is not fun, and that's not a happy thing. But you still have this sense of happiness that you've gotten a diagnosis. And we knew sort of what was going to be the diagnosis for Kiara. We were very sure it was going to be in around this area, and I know what it's like to get that sort of thing. I've seen my mum go through it as well. I've been through it. My sister's been through it. So I just knew she was going to need lots and lots of support. So we rallied around her, and she's doing really well now. I do have to say though, there was a time where she decided to be very, very dramatic, and she spent 5 days in hospital with a septic infection. They couldn't figure out where it had come from, and all of those things that you experience when you have chronic health conditions. She tried to die. Very dramatic. And it was not fun for her, not fun for any of us, but she is definitely on the mend now. She's finding some really good management and treatment options, and she's helping out with Dance Geek still because, pineapples, we're friends, we're besties, it's what you do. She probably won't be in a lot of the videos anymore because it's just not what she wants to do, and I'm not going to make her do anything she doesn't want to do. But yeah, she's doing good. She is doing good. All right, so now we've looked at what I was doing last year. Let's have a look at what I'm going to do this year. So what have I got planned for Dance Geek in 2024? The first thing is I'm going to let myself completely geek out. The main vision and guiding force for Dance Geek for 2024 and beyond is to fully embrace the geek. I want to get what's inside of here out there. My autistic special interest areas change over time, but the one constant since I was a toddler was dance. It was never enough for me to just physically learn a dance. I needed to know the history, the theory, the detailed whys of the technique, the stories behind the dance. I needed to know everything. I've spent my entire life learning anything and everything I can about dance. I got into theatre and singing and drama to help with my dance and to extend on my dance knowledge. Same with makeup, same with sewing. I never started this channel to create dance tutorials. I started it to info dump, basically, because that's what lots of people at comps wanted me to do. They were contacting me through my Instagram DMs and emails and wanting to know more about things. So I thought, yep, cool, that's what I'll do. And now I'm actually going to do it. I've got some great stuff lined up, like the etymology of the word pas de bourrée and how it's used in dance. And it's not just about the technique of a pas de bourrée, it's about the story and the history behind the word pas de bourrée. And trust me, it is nowhere near as boring as it sounds. It is hilarious. You are going to want to watch that one. I've also got a video on singing tips for dancers, a deep dive into the differences between rhythm, musicality, and dynamics, and the long-awaited, very much requested choreography series. It's going to be a series. It's not just a video. I'm not just going to focus on how I choreograph, because there's like 5 ways I choreograph, and that's a conservative number. I'm going to look at different ways to choreograph and ways to help you create your own methods of developing your choreography and being the best choreographer you can be. My aim is to upload 2 videos a week whilst I do everything else in my life. Still at uni. We'll figure it out. 2 videos a week. Fingers crossed I can keep to this schedule. And the second thing I'm going to be doing is reaction reels. So of the 2 videos each week, one will be something informative and the other will be a reaction. I am actually a really huge fan of reaction videos. It's not just that they're very popular online at the moment. I really like them. So as an example, I spent a solid 3 days watching people react to hearing John Farnham for the first time. For those of you who don't know, John Farnham is a legendary Australian pop star who has the most incredible range and tone to his voice. And I became obsessed with watching vocal coaches on YouTube react to the things John Farnham could do with his voice. It was just so much fun. Another favourite is, of course, watching dance reactions. I really like Josephine from The Point Shop. Her TikTok reactions are great. She tries to be polite and sweet about it all, but she is all of us sitting there going, why would you do that? Why? And yeah, I really love watching those. So I really want to do my own version of a reaction video, put a bit of a Claire Dance Geek spin on it, which means I'm going to combine it a little bit with how I judge dance competitions. I've got some really fun stuff lined up and I'm very excited for you to see them. Oh, and I am aiming to upload reaction reels regularly on my Instagram. Now, on that note, the only social media that Dance Geek will be on is YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm not ruling out new ones as they come up, but they are the ones I'm on at the moment, and they're the only ones I am going to be doing. I absolutely will not be indulging that person, Milon Sucks, don't even want to say his name, and his ex tweet, whatever that thing is. I had one of those accounts way back in the day for about a month, even before he took over. It was during the pandemic. I hated it. I hate that platform. Not going to be part of it. I also won't be doing TikTok. I actually did start a TikTok account a while ago and kept it up for a while. I actually had a lot of engagement on TikTok. However, I had an extremely disappointing and enraging encounter with the TikTok police, who censored me for talking about my own experience of disability. They flagged the video as hate speech, basically, and took it down without providing me any way of disputing it. And all of my attempts to contact TikTok to have it, to plead my case, all of my attempts to contact TikTok were ignored. So I swore I wanted nothing to do with that platform at all. So don't expect me to start a TikTok account. It's not happening unless they make some massive, massive changes. I'm uploading content pretty much daily to Instagram, and that account is also linked to my Facebook Dance Geek account. And I'm pretty good at replying to comments and DMs, especially on Instagram. So please feel free to contact me through those channels if you have questions or you want to reach out. And the other thing I want to talk about that I will be doing this year on Dance Geek is I'm starting a series this series will be called the I Don't Hate My Body Dance Sessions, or IDHMB, which is just easier to say, but I don't hate my body. I don't hate my body dance sessions. So technically these are dance tutorials, but there's a catch. And it's a massive, massive twist, massive change. This idea came to me whilst I was doing my exercises that I do. Exercise for me has always either been about being a better, stronger dancer or losing weight. And now exercise needs to be about preventing damage from my pain condition, and also about controlling pain relief. Exercise as a pain relief is a big part of the type of condition that I have. It's also about my mental health. So this came from a personal just necessity, but it was also inspired by the excellent Jamila Jamil, who has started the hashtag Move for Your Mind movement on social media. Jamila has, among other things, she has a podcast called iWay, which is incredible. And she was on The Good Place as Tahani, among other shows, but yeah, she's wonderful. Love her. And the idea behind the Move for Your Mind movement is to take back physical movement from the toxic wellness and diet industries. So whilst you will be able to use the I Don't Hate My Body dance sessions as fitness and exercise and wellness, you won't see me or hear me using words like fitness or weight loss or even toning and sculpting. They have been corrupted so much by diet culture that I just can't associate those words any longer with anything happy or beneficial for my body. The emphasis will be on dancing to increase serotonin levels, endorphins, stress hormones, and something which is incredibly important for me, just to give me an opportunity to stim. I've realized that dancing is my most effective and enjoyable stim. As an autistic person, stimming is an essential way of self-soothing and self-regulating, and I love doing it. So what will these sessions actually involve? So it's going to be a combo of a lot of things. We'll have some movement-specific gentle exercise sessions that will be like for things like specific disabilities or specific areas of the body where you might have pain. If you want to be able to do a dance class but you've got bad knees, you don't have to have a degenerative autoimmune condition, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to be as dramatic as me. You can just be somebody with bad knees and then feel like that prohibits you from joining a dance class. I will be giving you ways to do a dance class and to dance and to enjoy dance in an accessible way. It'll be free. And I'll also be doing some just purely fun dance sessions that are to teach you dances, so to teach you choreography from iconic like TV shows or movies or just like culture, like the bus stop. Okay, I'm not talking high culture. Things like that, where it's just like, okay, this is how you actually do the bus stop and this is how you make it fun. This is how you make it look comfortable or look less like, you know, the awkward potato, to give you a bit of confidence when you're at the next wedding where everyone has to get up and do the bus stop, that kind of thing. And you will definitely be seeing a video where I teach you how to do the routine. If you know, you know. If you have any requests, please chuck them in the comments or send me an email or DM, whatever. I'd love to hear what you would like, and I'll do my best to get that content out to you. Oh. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's where I've been, that's where I'm going, or I'm hoping to go. It's gonna be a fun ride. It's gonna be a lot of me just blah, 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 blah. So if you find my voice irritating, don't subscribe to my channel. If you want to come along for the journey, subscribe to my channel. On that note, you don't pay YouTubers unless you have a premium account, in which case we don't get that money. But anyway, you don't directly pay YouTubers. So if you like content that you see on YouTube, the way you can help that content creator is subscribing to their channel and interacting, whether that be through thumbs up button, leaving a comment. Those sorts of things help YouTubers. I am super excited about the year ahead, and I am really excited for you to see an even more authentic version of myself. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I hate sign-offs. So remember, never stop learning. Everybody is a dance body, and I'll see you in the next video.